Hey, everybody. Well, my name is Stephen Haywood. I am the Wirecast marketing manager here at Telestream, and this show is called On Social. This is a show that is going to specialize in online video on social media platforms. That's our goal. It's a short show. I'd say about a half an hour, and the show is basically going to give you tips and insider tricks on why you need to have the most professional video um, that's out there. I see a lot of video out there on the web, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. That you get people taking video with cell phones, and it's shaking and things like that. And so, what we want to kind of do here with this show is give you an inside look as to some of the things that you should be doing to make your presentation and your video the best and most professional it possibly can. One of the things we also want to do is we want to be able to bring on marketing experts from the industry and as well as from Telestream to talk about different ways that you can market your videos to niche um, content or destinations. So one of the things I always say is understanding your destination, right? So when you're out there, if you're a church, you're not going to necessarily put your video, your live stream up on Twitch, a predominant gaming platform. So one of the things that we want to hope to accomplish through all this is give you guys a way that you can have the best possible video and the best content for the best platform. And I thought this is one reason that we could do this here on LinkedIn, being that this is full of professionals, this is full of businesses. Everybody's trying to leverage live video for their brand or for their company. The question always is, how do I do it? Do I have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars? And there's different techniques and there's different things which I'm going to show you here later on in the show here is even this background that I have. You're probably sitting there and going, wow, that's a really nice green screen he's got going on. Believe it or not, it's not a green screen. And I'm going to show you later on what it is and how you can accomplish the same thing in the tip that I have for today. Live video is so important on social media because it's the new wave of how everybody is gathering content. In my opinion, the days of reading blogs, I mean, articles are out there, but more and more people are engaged through live video. I mean, just take, for instance, this video, this live stream series. People are tuning in. They want to know the best way that they can make their content reach as many different people as possible. My experience has been for the longest time, almost 12 years now, has been in live broadcasting and live video production. So, one of the things that I always like to do is I like to do a live broadcast to convey my message, to get out there and show different types of tools that you can use to accomplish this. And I hope over the next couple weeks we're going to get into some of the different things like the types of cameras that you can use for this without breaking your bank, software, microphones, understanding even basic things as just even framing yourself for a shot. Um, we see a lot of video on social media. We see a lot of video just live in general. You get that person that says, "Hey, I'm doing a broadcast. I'm trying to get my brand recognized." They're sitting in their bedroom with their bed unmade, and they've got the video shot. It's not flattering. So these are the types of things that we kind of want to address because I don't think the basics are something that everybody takes too serious. I think people, when they do this, they just think that, well, I'm just going to go live and that's how we're going to do it. Um, you can't necessarily always do that. And I'm going to try to keep up with the comments here because I know with LinkedIn I have to constantly refresh. So I don't know if that's something that we're going to have to do. Um, maybe we can get that um, situated over the next couple weeks. So, understanding your content, understanding your audience, that's something that you really need to take into consideration. I know LinkedIn Live is brand new. Everybody's chomping at the bit to get on LinkedIn Live. And we've been very fortunate enough to be able to come on here and talk about one of the things that we specialize in, and that's live video. And I think a lot of times people they go live on platforms that, as I stated earlier, aren't necessarily good for their content. I know I came from the era of stream to as many destinations as you possibly can. Now, with all these different destinations having chat rooms, sometimes it needs to be it needs to be harnessed. You need to figure out, what's the best way to do this, because we do have, chat rooms. We have people leaving real time comments. Um, you have different things going on, but I like to give people options. So I see a bunch of people in the YouTube chat. We've got people on YouTube. We've got people all over. So let me premise this. For the longest time, I've done my own stuff. Everybody knows me throughout the internet as the Tech Buzz. So I have this streaming out to all those platforms. Plus, my job for Telestream, I have it going to LinkedIn Live. I have it going to the YouTube channel. And what we're doing here is we're trying to put it out to as many different people. So I see there's different people on YouTube leaving some comments here. Um, so somebody actually just did actually say this. Very clean green screen. How did you do that? Stay tuned, because later in the show I'm going to show you. This is not a green screen, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. Um, so these are the types of things that we're gonna kind of give little tidbits and little tips and tricks away during these shows. Besides me just talking about the inevitable, right? One of the things you guys will see me do on this show is engage with an audience. I think this is crucial when doing a broadcast. There's so many times I've seen broadcasts where people don't engage with the audience, and I know that gets tougher and tougher the more platforms you're streaming to. You can end up, with 5, 6, 7 different platforms with 5, 6, 7 different chat rooms, and that really that really causes a problem, right, with engagement. So one of the things that I've done myself is I've enlisted the help of some of friends that I have, that over the next couple weeks they're going to get involved, and they're going to actually facilitate questions to me from the different platforms that we're streaming, so we can engage in with everybody and not leave people out, in the dark. I mean, that's one of the biggest issues I think in live streaming, especially if you're a business, right? So if you're selling a product, if you're pushing a physical product, and somebody comes by and says, "Hey, this microphone you're using, what's the dynamic range on that?" and you just completely ignore them, that's going to turn that person off, and they're going to want to go somewhere else to watch a show. Or, a lot of times people don't have time to go read the FAQ on your product. So what they want to do is they see you're live, they want to get a quick answer. That quick answer could make or break a sale. So it's very important to be as engaged as possible with your audience, even if it means taking your eye off the camera for a little bit. Alex in the chat room here on YouTube says, "Welcome back, Stephen. You were missed." Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate that. I'm really hoping that you guys are going to be excited about the show. I want to make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for Telestream if you haven't already done so, as well as go over and like the Facebook page. Um, we're going to hopefully get this ironed out as far as Facebook Live and LinkedIn. As you guys know, there's some limitations with the API call, so I'll get that ironed out for next week. But this week is more or less just a show to kind of explain what we're going to get into with On Social. I don't want everybody to get in their head that this is going to strictly talk about social media. I want to get into, I mean, we're talking about live video on social media and professionalism and how to present yourself. And a lot of times people forget these basics. They just want to get the cool whistles and bells, the software, the cool backgrounds, and the cool titles and logos and lower thirds, and they forget simple, basic camera etiquette, and they forget or don't understand certain things that you're supposed to do. So I want to invite you, like I said, we're gonna have this up for subscription. I'm gonna refresh here on the LinkedIn page and see, because the comments are kind of like in Facebook, where you have to, kind of refresh a little bit and kind of see what any kind of comments are coming through. So if you're on LinkedIn and you're leaving comments, keep the comments coming, and I'm going to do my best to kind of facilitate that and see what these comments and questions are, if there is any. that are coming through. Let's see here. So one of the things somebody said was one of the feeds is ahead uh, than the other. So we don't have any control over how a uh, platform is ingesting the feed. So you could end up with a delay on one feed versus another feed. That is definitely something that that very well could happen. So that's just all part of that. Let's see here. So Edward says he's definitely going to check this out. So I appreciate you guys, all the good comments, all the cool things that are coming in, all the good questions. Um, So, Guy in the chat room on YouTube says, great stream quality, both LinkedIn and YouTube. So, that's something else. A lot of people get going with this. And yeah, you could stream to many different destinations. You could stream to whatever it is, but having enough bandwidth that you can put out a quality stream, a good quality, and I mean something that's high definition that people can watch, especially this day and age, is very very important. But I think a lot of people they get into this they get into this broadcasting and they do a crash course. I don't know how many times I could tell you I've gotten calls where people said, "Hey, I want to go live. I was just we'll use LinkedIn for example. I just got approved on LinkedIn. I want to go live tonight." And my question to them is, "Well, have you ever broadcasted before?" No. Have you ever used any kind of broadcasting software like Wirecast? Have you ever done anything live? No. Maybe you want to wait a little bit before you go live to make sure that you understand what you need to do and how to do it. So, so with some of the questions that are coming in, what type of camera am I using? So we're going to get into all that kind of stuff in the future. So what I'm using right now is I'm using a PTZ optics camera, which is NDI, and I'm using the Wirecast gear with the I think it's a 210 unit with the Magewell capture card that's ingesting that. So no, that's cool. I'm glad you guys are asking these questions. Um, yes, yes. So the yeah, our gentleman in the chat room, Gam TV. I think he watched some of my stuff before, so he's letting the cat out of the bag a little bit earlier, and he's telling you guys about what I'm using behind me because a lot of people have seen what I've done. I've actually got an LED TV right behind me, so it's not a green screen. And so this is we're going to go into kind of this is the tip, okay, for today's show. You don't need to have a green screen. I can basically make this whatever I want. So this is coming off of the Wirecast gearbox as a secondary monitor, and I can essentially change that to whatever backdrop that I would want. Now, one of the big things that you run into with TVs, especially using studio lights, is if you notice, even at this angle, there is no glare. There's no hot spots shooting off from my studio lights. And I've got 3 studio lights up and I've got 4 rail lights up. Not one of them is catching this TV. So there's different tricks, and we're going to start with that first as part of this tip. 3-part tip, I guess you could say. So one of the things is this TV is not sitting flat back here. This TV is actually at an angle. And if you notice, this side of the TV is actually closer to the wall than this side of the TV. So it's actually shifted. And the reason for that is to get rid of any kind of glare that's coming off in the video. The other thing that I do is I take coasters. I have metal coasters that I'll use these coasters because these are small. But I take these coasters and I put them on the back side of the legs and I tip the TV forward. Okay? So what that does is, and you'll have to play with to see how far you have to tip it. It gives the TV stability, but it also gives it the ability to tip forward so that you don't get any kind of uh, glare from your studio lights. You'll see a lot of broadcasters that wear glasses. They'll lift them up a little bit on camera so that they sit on their nose just a little bit so that you don't get any kind of glare off of it. Um, and what Gam's saying, he's also saying you're not using PC resources with a green screen, which is great, and that's the other thing. Live stream universe, hey, how you doing? So that's one thing with this. The other thing is a lot of people say, well, you know what? I'm not very good with video editing. That's something that I struggle with. So I'm going to show you a little bit really quick, especially if you have a Mac. I'm going to show you how you can make a background like that. But let's go back to something first. So in this camera technique that I'm using a PTZ Optics camera. It's the NDI version. With this camera, it doesn't give me the ability to blur the background as you're seeing. You know, like if you got a DSLR, I also have a Canon HFG 40 that'll allow me to give that depth of field, that background blur that kind of gives it that more professional look. Well, what if I told you could take a regular webcam, a built-in webcam for that matter, and give yourself this distorted background to take your broadcast to the next level? Do you think that would be pretty cool? Is that something you guys would like to see? I could walk you through it in about 5 minutes and show you exactly how you could do it. And what's great is, um, obviously, we are a company that makes content creation tools like Wirecast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a tool called Wirecast, if you're not familiar with it. And I'm going to show you how you can get a cool background like that. So one of the things in Wirecast, the Big 12.1, is stock media. So if you go into the stock media library and you click add, so we're going to go in here. So you can use this for other stuff. You don't have to just use it for this. But I'm gonna do this for this show. You can take any kind of stock media, but this is the easiest. So I'm going to type in studio. So now all these different studio pictures are going to come up. So let's grab this one. So if you look, here's a studio. There's not really a lot of blur. Actually, let's grab one that doesn't have a blur. That had a little bit of a blur. So this one doesn't have a blur except in the very background. So let's download this stock media piece. So we're going to download the stock media piece. So when it's done downloading, it's going to show you on your hard drive where you can find it. So with everything going on here, I'm going to just stop this and I'm going to grab that other one that I have here. So I've got a bunch of them here. So let's grab some from the stock media here. Let me see here. I'll just grab this one. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to iMovie. If you're on a Mac, you can use iMovie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file, I'm going to drag it into iMovie. Give me 1 second here. So once it's in iMovie, there's a cool title that's in here. It's called Pull Focus. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to pull this down here. And then what you want to do is you want to get rid of this title and this wording. And if you notice, what I'm going to do is, without actually going through it, I'm going to skip down here. You can see it's perfect. It's perfect clarity, right? So if I come back here where I have that pull focus, you can now see it's all blurred. And that's a simple way to make a blurred background that you can use. You can even put it in here, a static backdrop. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be a video. And then you would just simply drag this the whole length of your video, and then export it. That's simple, and you can have a motion background that is blurred, and you get this nice, really cool effect. So this is something that you guys could do for your broadcast to take it to the next level, and it doesn't cost you anything. There's so many looping videos out there. I'm sure some of you guys have even created some great looping videos out there. And I would suggest to you, if you can, I would suggest, you can, if you already have Wirecast, you can get it from there. There's plenty of other sites that you can get different backgrounds. And just that simple. I mean, everybody has a TV that's available. And so many people have asked, how can I incorporate a TV? Some people like to stick a TV next to them with like any kind of looping, I don't know, sponsor reels, if you will. I chose to do this like this because I think it looks a lot cleaner. Somebody in the chat room even said looked a lot cleaner than a green screen, and I tend to agree. The other cool part of it is when I go to like this shot, um, I can have a guest up here if I want. I don't have to have this motion background. I can actually have one of the guests, which we'll see here in a future episode. So these are the types of things that you can do with having a TV in the background. And he's saying this. He's saying in the chat room, way cleaner than a green screen, and it really is. And it's if you just apply those simple techniques. This is a 52-inch 4K TV. This TV cost me $300 at Walmart. I am not going to lie. So, $300 investment, I can frame it perfectly for my tight shot. I can give it a different, almost studio feel just by going to another camera because of the angle and have a guest up there. It really gives you some versatility in your studio without having to build multiple different studios for different views. That's going to help you stand out on social media. So that's one of the things that I would highly recommend if you haven't done so. Check out some different stock media. You know, you have iMovie. I think on PC there's some different options like Sony Vegas. I'm sure there's something on there that you can use to blur out the background. I know Final Cut Pro for you advanced users out there. I use Final Cut Pro a lot, so there's also a tool in there that'll allow you to blur your videos. But giving that little bit of depth of field to your video gives a whole new dynamic of professionalism to your setup. And going with clean graphics. If you notice, even on this show, um, I'm using some motion lower thirds, but they're very subtle. It's not something that's overwhelming because I have a lot of movement in the back with the screens moving and everything. If you put too much movement on the screen at one time, it tends to turn people off. So that's something to keep in mind when doing these types of shows. And that's going to help you get a professional broadcast out on social media and get the attention for your brand, for your business, for things like that. And you guys heard me mention a little bit ago a Wirecast and Telestream and this company that that I like I said that I work for. Um, they make some really cool stuff. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do, we have a brand new product, Wirecast One. You guys can go and it has that stock media library for $250. You can go check it out. But all the different levels of Wirecast, very easy. You want to have a professional setup like what we're doing right now, you can do that simply by going in and testing and trying Wirecast, uh, and get that whole professional feel just heading over to our website. I'd encourage you guys right now to like us on Facebook, Telestream Wirecast, Telestream page. I'd encourage you guys to go over to our LinkedIn page, follow that, and our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to have this available for you on demand every week when we do the show. This show is going to air every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. So make sure you guys mark your calendars and tune in. We're going to do our best to bring you some really cool tips and tricks. And we're going to bring some different people from the industry on to give their tips and tricks on how they're making the best moves in social media. Um, yeah, a guy in the chat room, he says, great use of a second camera in TV for guest contextual content. Absolutely. So right now it's being used for this. And if I wanted to, I could, like I said, I could switch to the other camera. And with the Wirecast X Keys controller, I could simply switch to a different background. Now, I don't have it programmed right now, but I could do that, and I'll do that in a future episode. So I really hope you guys got something out of this. This is one of the things that I want to try to incorporate on these is little tips and tricks that I've learned over the years to help make my stuff successful. And I know a lot of you guys, you want to make the best content that you possibly can. You want to be the best that you possibly can. And that's one thing we do strive here at Telestream is for professionalism, and we try to give you the best possible value for your dollar. So with that, unfortunately, guys, we've kind of come to the end of the show. And I know maybe down the road we might make the show a little bit longer when we start getting guests, but for right now, we're going to keep it to a half an hour. Um, So Guy says, would love to get into or get info about Stream from iPad or iPad Pro. I mean, these are different things we can get into. USB-C is a game changer, by the way. Guy says, great show. Thank you. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I really appreciate that. Listen, before anybody goes, send your suggestions of what you want to see on the show. You can email me at Stephen H, just like it's spelled on my lower third, Stephen H for my last initial, at telestream.net. I'm happy to start putting some shows together. Maybe you want me to interview somebody that's really influential in the marketing world that you think would bring some value to the show. Send that in an email. I'm happy to look at it. Happy to get some different people on. I'm also happy to cover different things that you want to cover because after all, this whole show is the premise is to give you professional video with professional results on social media. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Have a great Memorial Day weekend and take care.